Okay, hello everybody. My name is Jake Kurth and welcome to another Leeds live stream. Today's live stream, Leeds Helpful Tips live stream, is going to be going all about getting ergonomically comfortable on our firearm and toolmark comparison microscopes. And what we cover today will work absolutely for both the LCF3 that you see behind me, as well as our entire Discovery and Discovery Z series microscopes, as well as our LCF2 microscopes. So before we begin, just a couple quick things. One of the neat things about doing live streams is that it's live. So there is a chat window over to the right side, I believe, of your screen. If you have a Gmail account or a Google account, you can log in. And if you're comfortable doing that, you can also ask questions in the chat. And when I see them, I'll be monitoring it over to my right. When I see them, what I'll do is I'll answer them as I see things that come through. Another quick note is that these live streams are live, as I mentioned before. So sometimes we might run into some technical difficulties. Something might happen. I don't know. It's all live, and so we'll just work through it to the best of my ability. So Leeds live streams, Helpful Tips, are a series of live streams where we talk about things that are about our products and hopefully are helpful and useful for people who are using our systems in the field. If you have anything that you would like us to talk more about or bring to our attention that you would like a topic on, please feel free to email me at my email address, which is jkurth@leedsmicro.com, or you can always text me or call me. Okay, so let's jump into it. So ergonomics on a comparison microscope, specifically our comparison microscopes, getting comfortable on the comparison scope along with the eyepieces, which I did a live stream, actually was our first live stream, are basically the two biggest quality of life improvements you can do when you're doing comparison work. The idea is with the ergonomics is if you get the heights right, everything's working right, you're not having to stretch up, you're not having to slouch down, your legs are comfortable, you can go for a very long time on your comparison scope. So the first thing I'm going to talk about, even before we get to the microscope, is picking a chair that works. Leeds over the years, we've received feedback about chairs, things that work better for our comparison scope, some that don't. What I'm going to do is not necessarily on this live stream, but what I'll do is when we post the recording of it, I'll include a couple links to a couple chairs that over the years we've heard back and people seem to have really liked. One that comes to immediate mind is the Haag Capisco. One of a sheriff's group put me onto that. So we don't sell them, but they're a good chair. The whole idea with the chair is just to be able to get comfortable. So when you're sitting at the scope, you want to have enough height range that it will be able to accommodate you sitting and really being able, because you'll see when I go over it that the table, while it is height adjustable, there is a limit to its height adjustment. So when you're picking out a chair, you want to pick one that allows you to get high enough up that you have clearance between the bottom of the table, and we'll talk more about that. So, okay, so yeah, first thing to do when you come to your microscope is, while you might be inclined to try to adjust the column height immediately, just jump in and say, hey, this column is way too high, I'm going to go ahead and go to my touchpad and go and adjust that column down. What I actually recommend doing is the first thing to do when you come to your microscope is adjust the station height or the leg height. And you do that by controlling the station on the touchpad and the legs. So for this microscope, I'm going to go ahead and we're just going to go ahead and lower the legs down. The idea here is that we're going to get to a height for the microscope that will work for me. A big thing to look out for is just as you bring it down, you want to have enough clearance that you can get under the scope and be comfortable, and you don't want to have to pinch your leg with the table. So the next thing to do once you get your legs down to a height that's going to work for you is what I recommend doing next is adjust your focus mount positioner, or sorry, not your focus mount positioner, but your focus. So what I've run into going to labs is sometimes people will have their station really high up, so their tables really high up, or they'll have their station very low, but they'll have their focus units really high up, so then they can bring their column higher up. But the problem there is that as you keep increasing column height, eventually, or your focus height, eventually what happens is you're just going to run out of travel, and you won't be able to get a very good, you don't have as much travel. Additionally, if you're really high up, and sometimes I've even seen it where people have actually physically grabbed the focus unit and have increased it up higher on the mounting mechanism. When you do that, the problem is that you can actually become kind of like a tuning fork. This whole thing can be more sensitive to vibrations in the room. So what I recommend doing when you are trying to get comfortable on the scope is to rack your stage all the way down to the table after you've adjusted your table height. Rack your station or your stage all the way down so you actually hit the bottom of travel on both sides. And then what I recommend doing is just backing it off to maybe a little bit in the middle. And what that means is now we've got travel in both directions. And then what I'll do is I'll go ahead and looking through the eyepieces. There's a couple things you could do at this point. Let's say I came in and my microscope, somebody with a really long torso height. And that's why we have the adjustable column, is for different examiners' torso heights. Let's say you came in and somebody with a really long torso height had previously been using it. What I would recommend doing is bring it down to a level that you can start to get comfortable. But then what I would do is, while looking through the microscope, go ahead and adjust the column height and bring the image into focus. Because you'll see is, as you adjust your column, it actually will adjust your focus. And then by doing that, by getting the table height first, bringing the column down, and then fine-tuning the column height, what you're going to get is you're going to get a situation where you're not having to hold your arms up high. You can have your arms at a relaxed pose. You have clearance for the table. And also, this is set for my torso height, so I'm not having to stretch or weirdly position my body to get comfortable. And then you can fine-tune based on the angle of the eyepieces. So then, yeah, you can come in and then you can kind of look at it, get comfortable, and then do any fine-tuning adjustments that you need to. You can always, of course, when you're really fine-tuning things, you could always try to do that parfocality technique that we train on, and then we also have videos on, where once you get everything set up, you can zoom in, focus, and then zoom out, and then you'll be at optimum focus and optimum heights for everything. So yeah, so just to reiterate, come to a microscope, everything's totally wrong. First thing to do, adjust your station height, adjust your table height. Bring the table or the table or the station to a height that works with your chair, that you can get close to, that's not pinching your legs, that's not doing anything like that. The next step is to bring your focus units all the way down, bottom them out, and to bring them up a little bit. That gives you travel. And then the last thing to do is go to your column and bring your column down or bring your column up to a level that's comfortable, and then fine-tune the column adjustment to bring the image into focus. You know, it may be that you bring your column down and it's in focus where you had the stage, and then it's like, well, dang, it's too low for me. And so in that case, what you would do is you would increase your column height, and then you would increase your focus units up. Hopefully that helps. I suggest trying it a couple times, see how it works for you. Again, it only takes a couple minutes to get set up. We did it all in this live stream, but it will make a really big difference for when you're sitting on the scope and working on it. Another quick thing, one more thing to show you guys, is the focus mount positioner system. So this is something that comes up from time to time. So one of the things that we have on our comparison scope is we have that ability to hold large objects, like, for example, a 50 BMG. So hopefully you're never working on 50 BMGs in your casework, but if you were, you might run into this situation where you're trying to look at the chamber marks. Honestly, I don't even know if good chamber marks are left behind on 50 BMGs, but just for an example, but it's a really long sample. And you can see as I'm moving my stage, I eventually run out of travel. So what Leeds has done is we've built what we call the focus mount positioner system. And it's this little track system. And the idea is if you run into the edge of travel, very easy, what you can do is just come over to this little lever. It's a ratcheting lever. You can release it by just pulling it lefty-loosey, righty-tighty, Now this whole focus unit can slide. Allows you to come in. You can slide your focus unit. Ooh, try not to bump your light. Focus unit. Lock it back down, and now you get the travel that you need for your really long cartridge case. So you do all that work, you're ready to go. You switch it out, and then the question comes, well, how do I get back to my standard position? How do I get back to where I have equal travel in both directions that's usable? Because you'll see now, if I were to start doing just a regular, I don't know, 45 ACP, or no, it's not 45, 40 Smith & Wesson cartridge case, you know, I have great travel for my 50 BMG, but I've run out of travel for this. So what you do is kind of slick. If you look at your stage, you can barely see it, I think, in my video, but there is a little veneer scale right on the stage, and then there is a mark system, a 0 right here that's attached to the stage. And so to get equal travel from both directions and reset after doing movements of your focus mount positioner, simply move that 0 mark to the 25 position on that veneer scale. And what the scale has a 50 millimeter travel. So now if you set it to 25, you've got 25 millimeters in either direction. So you set it at 25, it's just moving it, set to 25. You loosen your focus mount positioner, and then you just slide it back, put it in the middle of your field of view, or middle of your objective, lock it down, and now you've got that 25 millimeters of travel in either direction, and that's a very easy reset. So both sides of the microscope have that capability. The other side, what you'll notice if you look at our stages, is it's simply just flipped. So that scale, instead of being, or that 0 mark, dash mark, instead of being on the front of the scale, is actually located on the back, or sorry, 0 mark, instead of being loaded on the front of the stage, is actually loaded on the back of the stage for the left-hand side. But it operates in very much the same way. So yeah, so that's the basics of the ergonomic setup and the focus mount positioners. Focus mount positioners, hopefully this little tutorial will help you guys get back to a 0 position. And if you didn't know about the focus mount positioners, this will definitely help when you're looking at those long tool marks evidence or those long or large cartridge cases or rifle bullets. And yeah, I think that's all I got. Oh, just one last thing. On our comparison scope that's maybe a little different, you'll see that we have a quick change set. So this is an option for those who want to have multiple different objectives. We actually have a quick change optional set that is an option and is available. So let's see if we have any questions. Is there an easy way to square up the stages once you rotate them? Yes. Yes, Jason, there absolutely is. So, because what I was doing in the video, or in this training, is I was adjusting this and rotating things, and you want to square things up. So the easiest way to square things up is to once you've repositioned things and moved things around, is to bring the stage back more or less to where you think is square. And really, it's just a visual. You look down at the side, you look straight down the microscope, and what you'll see is you're going to see the focus mount rail system, the track, and then you're going to see, outside of that, you're going to see the actual stage itself. And the idea is to just square up on those two, bring those two in an agreement, and then that will mean your stage is squared, and you'll be good to go. Any other questions? I'm going to leave it live for a couple more seconds. Well, I think that's it for today, everyone. Again, hopefully these Leeds Helpful tips are helpful for you. If you have questions on getting ergonomically situated, or if you have any questions about chairs, please feel free to reach out to me directly. As I said before, I'll be putting a couple links, work with our marketing director to put a couple links into the description of this video, which will have a link to a couple different chairs that we've been recommended over the years. So we have another question that just came in saying, are the quick change objectives only available on the Discovery? And the answer is no. The quick change is available on both the Discovery as well as the LCF3. We developed quick change from working with some of our toolmarks customers. We had one particular customer who wanted to have a really broad magnification range. And so then we made these these pre-centered quick change kits. And they are available for any of our firearm comparison microscope systems. I'm going to wait a couple more seconds because I was just about to go and we had a last question come in. Just as a quick note while I'm waiting to see if anybody else has questions, these live streams are good, but there is a delay. So you'll see that there may be a slight delay between when I'm showing and what is actually live happening. What we do is if a customer has specific requests or wants like more one-on-one training, Leeds uses Zoom, GoToMeeting. We have a wide variety of platforms, and we're always happy to spend time with individuals. And you probably even use the same camera setup. I think that's it for today. I'm going to look one more time, but I don't see any more questions. So yeah, thanks for watching. Until next time, and enjoy your microscopes. Happy microscoping. Okay, thank you.